That's record.
Now hit record, and I'm going to put it up there.
That's all right.
We don't start. What?
It's recording now.
Oh,
So say nice things about Don.
Don.
What do you want me to do? This?
Donald. Thank you, Mr. D. I can only say nice things. Nothing nasty. I never say anything nasty, Joe. I'm a very kind person.
Yes, Howard.
Seriously. Pretty much cleaned up.
Howard, move the table out.
You no longer mind.
Like I did.
Don, you didn't say anything about your wife today.
Pick it up.
I'm just going to say that. I know. Never tell your wife she can't cook if she has a frying pan. Did she hit you? I didn't say she hit me. I said just never say she can't. That's, as a lawyer, you would understand parsing words. You know what's funny? This is a true story. We were actually talking.
We're being taped.
It went flying off the plane on shiny hardwood floor. I would walk in the room, went flying, landed on my hand. Got X-ray, no problem. 2 years later, doctor said, "Oh no, it was broken." So never go to urgent care.
No, don't.
Oh my God.
Not by choice. Oh well. Keep going this way. Should be two on the meeting. Look at the 28th agenda. And Joe and Adam's on the meeting. Okay. But I'm going to do these two first. They'll be right quick.
I have it on the but I think they should come from you. Who has the approval? Who has the ability to approve? Basically, the three of us.
Yeah, I know.
Larry Moe and Ken Kirk.
One more minute.
And we're all copacetic. They set up those accounts for the assessment and money. I'll double check.
Okay, everyone.
I saw that.
Good evening. Okay, good evening, hopefully. We're going to start the board meeting now. I'm calling the meeting to order. First thing, we have approval from, we need to approve minutes from 2 prior meetings. I'm asking now to approve the minutes from the board meeting of April 28th, 2022. All those in favor, please raise your right hand. Okay, 760. By the way, Lenny is not here tonight. He's recovering from a surgical procedure and he's doing fine, and hopefully he'll be among us and crazing us all crazy soon enough. Okay? I'd like to approve the motion to approve the minutes from the special board meeting of May 12th, 2022. All those in favor, please raise your right hand.
Elise, could you just add to that, please? On the first one, the division D4, the second one is
Okay,
division
sorry.
D3.
Yes, okay. The first one, it was D4, and on the one we just approved, that would be D3. Thank you. Okay, now, okay, President's report. Couple of things are going on. Obviously, everybody knows we have started to paint in our community. We've also started to remove trees.
Mike, please.
Can you not, you can't hear me? Can you hear me now? Good, okay. So, as you know, we have started to paint, all right? I give great appreciation to the first 10 homeowners who are letting us experiment on them, okay? As everybody knows, once you start a new project, there are always some issues that are arising, and all those issues are being taken care of and worked out. So I do give great respect to the first 10 homeowners and their ability to be patient with us, and their homes are starting to look absolutely gorgeous, which gives me great faith in how our whole community will look once that project has been finished. We've also started to remove trees on the other side of the community. We're hoping to be able to coordinate so that they eventually maybe meet in the middle and pass each other, and try to cause as little disruption as we can to this community. Once the trees are removed, we will then obviously have the people starting to come in to do sidewalk repairs, swale repairs, etc. So again, I really hope for the cooperation of everybody in this community. It's a lot going on, but we had no choice. We have to get things done. And when it's all said and done, we will look more beautiful, hopefully, than ever, okay? I do have one thing I want to raise a topic on, and I know that come right before budget time, we're going to be sending around emails to the head of all committees to try to get some budget information from them. But please keep in mind, a committee cannot approve anything on their own. We recently had an incident. It wasn't done deliberately, but something was approved before coming to the board. And it included an increase, okay, in an expenditure we weren't sure of. It was under a certain amount of money, so that's not the issue. The issue was, it was said it was okay without having our approval being presented, either to the board in advance or to Karen. Okay, so I just want to say that the bill will be paid, but going forward, please keep in mind, we have to know, especially when it's been an expense that we hadn't been expecting. At least that was my understanding of it, okay? Now, we have 2 home sales. I just signed the COAs on 12225 Blair Avenue and 7594 Lockhart. The homes in our community continue to sell extremely quickly, which I think says a lot for our value and how well we maintain this community. And again, I thank all those people who are involved in helping maintain this community, which includes obviously our landscaping committee, our ACC, and everyone who seems to care a great deal about this community. So we have continued to add to our values, and it is my understanding that we will fairly soon have a house setting a record for sale in this community, okay? That's all I have for the moment. Don?
Yay. If you have the financials, I'll keep it short and sweet. Again, I would always...
Use Mike, John.
I know, the hills are alive. Hello. I would always caution you to look at the year-to-date, not any given month, okay? This month we have a couple of major expenditures for, and I even noted them at the bottom there, were sidewalk and paver repairs, and for the berm, oak trees, and ferns. Joe, I just want to let you know that if we're going to take $25,000 for the tree assessment against that line item, that will put us over the budget, because we basically spent it up this time. So it is more and more a function of what we spend. Revenue tends to be pretty constant. We still get some, and I'm not going to get into it tonight because Jerry's not here and Mike's not here. I'm not going to get into any discussion of show income. We'll save that for next month. I will only say that Jerry and I and Elise got together and we're closer than you would have thought in terms of where we stand. So I'll leave it at that and talk about that next time. Again, I really don't have much to say about the financial. We'll see what happens next month. I would, again, continue to caution, spend what we need, not what we want. It's going to be very, very important because it's going to get tighter and tighter and tighter. Second thing, another one that we've had discussions about here are about the reserves and the deficit. And this is another one where I talked to both Mike and Jerry. We went back and forth a little bit from what happened maybe 5 years ago. What the work I did is that basically a straight up, if we're gonna spend $1.8 million 7 years from now, this is what I need today. There is an assumption on those larger items, which has apparently been done in the past, and Joe might be able to speak to this, that we would not necessarily reserve the entire amount, because we would assume that we will assess it. So if we're gonna spend $1.8 million, and by the time we get to the reserve study, it could be $1 billion. If we get, the reserve study says we need to spend $2 million on the clubhouse, we don't necessarily have to, in effect, be fully funded for that today, because 7 years from now, we will assume to be funding half of it, and we will assess for the other half. So it still comes back to the infamous, pay me now, pay me later. You're gonna pay it through the reserves, you're gonna pay it through an assessment. So I just wanted to say that to the extent that I wanted to help allay some fears over the reserve deficit. We're gonna try our best to not have any significant increases in the HOA next year, but all bets are off until we get the new reserve study. Any questions on that? Okay, we set up the accounts for the tree assessments. What we're gonna do is, and I got the auditor's blessing on this, is that we will accumulate any monies that are paid in, any monies that are paid out on the balance sheet in 2 separate accounts. That way we will track it, we will know exactly what, again, what we brought in, what we spent. When the project is done, we'll net it all out, we'll throw it through the P&L, whatever the auditors want us to do. We set those accounts up, they're out there now. In the same vein, we did not set up a new deposit account. We're using the money market account that Karen's been using for remote deposits. What we're gonna do is that I've now got access, I haven't set it up yet, but I've got access to South State to look at the website and our financials, et cetera. We're gonna sweep out anything from that account that is not assessment related. So she still has to make the deposit. So if Karen puts $5,000 in for one thing and $20,000 in for assessments, I'll sweep the 5 out into the operating account. And at that point, we'll have an accounting of everybody, what they put in, that will tie out, and we won't commingle funds, we won't do any of that stuff. So hopefully that'll be pretty straightforward. And unless there are any questions, that's pretty much what I've got for now. Yes, ma'am?
Do we have any reserve money for the case of the hurricane damage?
For the hurricane
I
damage?
can't hear her.
She wanted to know if we have any reserve funding for hurricane damage. Am I correct?
I believe that's what I heard.
Yeah.
And I believe the answer is pretty much no. I don't think we have a separate hurricane reserve.
No.
Understand our reserve, sorry.
Go ahead.
Our reserve is called a replacement reserve.
Reserve.
For things that are coming out of their useful life, such as air conditioning, roof repair. That is not a replacement reserve.
Doesn't mean we wouldn't be able to set one up as a statutory reserve if we wanted.
You could set it up, but that's not, we do have a $4,000, I think it's 4,000, correct me, for hurricane-related expenses, which means putting
It's on here somewhere.
the panels up on the building and related. So theoretically, I believe, Karen, what was it, 1,000 up, 1,000 down, or 2,000 up, 2,000 down?
For
For the hurricane panels.
Hurricane panels? We're
You don't
putting them
remember?
up?
Okay, I don't remember, but it's so much up and
It's
so
in-
much down.
It's in the,
and 2 down, it was 4,000,
yeah,
2,000 up, 2,000 down.
yeah.
yeah,
Okay, and we have that budgeted for one cycle.
yeah.
There's many years we haven't used it, and I'm not looking forward to using it more than once a year. But that's not a replacement item. We're talking about things that went through their useful life, rather than being deteriorated through early life.
All right, any other questions? Okay. I do want to add one thing, and I apologize. We've had a bit of a crazy week this week. I hired All Brothers Tree Company to do all our tree removals. And because of a medical condition of the owner of All Brothers, they are no longer able to do the work. Creative Contracting was our second choice. They know this community, and they have agreed to come on board. Actually, it's a little bit less than what All Brothers was charging us. So, and we figure there's probably going to be a few more trees added in, but they will be doing the work in the community, so everything will move forward as we like. And we think they'll be fine. Obviously, they know how to remove trees, and then they'll be fixing after they remove the trees. So it's a nice seamless thing. And we are very sorry about any change in that, but it was something that was totally out of our control. And we hope that the person has a speedy recovery. All righty, thank you so much.
Yeah.
Okay, yes.
Quick question about that. you happen to know when they're gonna start again?
June 6th.
June 6th.
And will they be receiving the same kind of letter?
Yeah, you'll get notification, as you always would. The notification comes from the office from Karen, so you will be notified as to when the tree removals will be. We also have some other trees that are being looked at, that people have requested to be looked at again, whether they don't need to be removed, and some people have asked trees to be looked at that weren't on the list, saying they would love to have them removed. So we will be dealing with that on a tree-by-tree basis. Okay, thank you. Karen,
Well, okay. My turn?
your turn. Come on.
My mouth is big enough.
Yeah.
House painting. We're winding down on those forms required for the house painting. I do believe. You want it?
Okay. Yeah.
House painting, we're winding down on those forms required for the house painting. I do believe that we need several more, and this part of the project is completed. Very good. Our AC units have been giving us problems. Astel was on site for the new unit recently installed. They'll be back to make the necessary repairs. AA Advanced Air was also on site for an older unit that they installed. It was a broken belt and it's been replaced. JW Fire Sprinkler Company was on site for their annual inspection. Their inspection indicated that we had to replace corroded piping for the 2-inch main drain, inspector's test valve, and water gauge assemblies on it. Also to reinstall loose semi-recessed plate over the stage. The project was approved and completed. Flamingo Plumbing was on site to make necessary repairs at 12419 Landrum Way, which is the well site. The valve was leaking water. The business office has been collecting the 2022 assessments. To date, we're in receipt of 59 homeowner checks. Please note that the payment is due in full on or before June 15th of $1,200. If you wish to pay in 2 payments, first payment is due June 15th for $600 and September 15th for $625. If you wish to pay in 3 payments, third payment is due June 15th. 3 payments are due, well, the first payment is due June 15th. Second payment is due September 15th for $425, and the third payment is due December 15th for $425, sorry. An email blast will go forth Wednesday, June 1, Wednesday, June 8th, and Wednesday, June 15th as reminders. Water Masters was on site to troubleshoot 2 fountains, tennis courts and pickleball area. Pickleball fountain was repaired and we're awaiting a quote to replace the fountain at the tennis courts. Memorial Day, Monday, May 30th. Come meet our new social director, Maris Newmark. She's energetic, rearing to go, and has a great selection of events to share with Avalon. When you bite into your Klondike bars, and ice pops on Monday, please thank the Avalon staff for their donation to this event. I got good kids working. Hometown Pest Control was on site for their monthly preventative maintenance. Solitude Lake Management was on site to remove those overgrown littorals per work order request. Chris Kinsey Landscaping was on site to install summer plantings throughout the community where he maintains our beds. Clean and Green planted vinca flowers throughout the community. Clean and Green will be mowing tomorrow because they are celebrating Memorial Day and they are off. Please do not put your fronds out on Monday for pickup. They will not be picked up. Please check this month Avalon Times when delivered. All information is enclosed regarding the 2022 assessment, including instructions where to drop off or mail. The fitness center was closed on Friday, May 13th. Our maintenance supervisor, Felix, used our new commercial carpet shampooer to clean and disinfect the carpet tiles. Most of the machines that can be moved were moved. The janitorial staff, with the assistance of Marty Skolnick, a big thanks to Marty, were there for Felix. Barefoot Pools removed the existing non-operating 5 LED underwater pool lights and changed them with new units. The spa also received 1 LED underwater unit as required. Licensed electrician Paul Bernstein of Alpha Tech Electric will be on site to troubleshoot the electrical so that the light which shines on our American flag by the guardhouse is working. The work should be completed by Saturday, May 28th. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, Nancy?
Could Karen please put out a blast notifying all the people that aren't here that palm fronds will not be picked up on Monday?
Yes,
Because people tend to put it out on the weekend.
you got it.
Okay, all right. Okay, director's comments. Steve, do you have anything?
No.
Howard?
Nothing.
Okay. Myrna? Nope. Joe?
Yes, I'm sorry. No, it's just clarification. We gotta cover some subjects. Yeah, this one. Hello?
Cardigan.
Yeah.
You.
Okay, we'll see. That's not working, so that's.
Yes, it is.
It's on. That's
All
fine.
right, good enough. Let's just answer a few questions about a reserve first. There are different types of reserves, and one is a replacement reserve, which is what we have, and Avalon has a line item replacement reserve. So that means we set aside so much items for categories, about 40 categories, which would be fences, air conditioners, and things like that. If we have excess in one line item, we, the board, does not have the power to move it. The community has the power to move it, which we do annually if we need to do such. There are other communities that have a bulk reserve, which means the $1 million goes into the reserve and the board decides to spend $900,000 on the air conditioner, they can. We can't. So it's within this, but we call it a replacement reserve. It is not a full reserve for everything. It's a replacement reserve for things that have completed their useful life. The air conditioner that was replaced in here, 10 tons, was 18 years. That was beyond its useful life. So that's what the reserves are. We work on a line item reserve.
Can I ask a question? How was that approved? Because reserve advisors who I talked to today said they view the replacement reserve as a pool. So what do we have to do in terms of either a homeowner vote or a board vote
We did it.
to change the replacement reserve not to a line item but to a pool?
We get the community would vote on such.
It would have to go to the community.
Right, but this has been brought up multiple years, and I, for one, would be against it because I give too much power to the board to spend that $1 million plus.
But again, if everybody understands what Joe was saying, if you have a line item for grass or whatever, you can't use that money for roof. Even though we've got $1.3 million replacement reserve, you're limited to what was specifically reserved. Under a pool, the money's out there to be used as, in effect, I understand what you're saying about board power and authority, but what we have today with this line item, to me, is fairly restrictive.
Yes.
And I understand what you're, and that might be just intentional.
Right, that's what a line item is, intentional restrictive. Okay? And as what happened with if everybody remembers when we had a special assessment for the gated Oak Vista, at the end of the project, we had about $5,900 left over. We had to go to the community to move that money somewhere else. The board did not have the power to move that money. It's for that specific item, and it's very restrictive, it's correct. Can I go on?
Sure.
Good, I didn't know where we were. Okay. The subject is painting. I've been called, and so is Steve, I'm sure, and some other board members, and Elise, I know has been called. Okay, so let's review certain things that we understand what's going on. The surfaces in the house are generally, there are 3 different surfaces that we have in the house. One of them is very easy, the front door and the garage door. Everybody understands where the front door and the garage door is. They can be any one color within the palette. Okay, that's pretty clear. The second thing is the stucco surface. The stucco surfaces are the surfaces that is not a smooth surface. So if you touch it, it has a texture to it. Okay, that is called the base color of the house. And the last part of it is the trim. The trim is any surface that is smooth. So the surface around some windows are smooth, that gets the trim color, not the stucco color. Unless the homeowner said, my base color and my trim color are the same. But if they make the trim color whatever color it is, and it's different than the base color, any smooth surface will be painted with the trim color. So the next question that came up was the pineapple in the front of the house. And the pineapple area, if you take a look around it, it has a smooth surface. It will get painted the trim color. So you're going to have, where we've had in the past, all houses looking uniform, we're not going to have that. Just like we're not going to have with the garage doors. We're going to have some garage doors that'll be dark and some garage doors that'll be light. In fact, I have just a funny comment. When I see the dark garage doors, I think they're open. They're so dark to me, they appear open. I'm not the only one that said that. But next house will have a white garage door, or whatever color they choose, a sand color garage door. That is a garage door, front door. Those are the so-called smooth surfaces. And that's it. I just want to make sure I got the areas that I covered. So you all know that you could take 1, 2, or 3 choices of colors. You could have 1 color for the whole house, 2 colors, or 3 colors. That's your choice. The downspout, I've been questioned about the downspouts on the side of the house. They will be painted the same color as the stucco, because they're on the stucco. I've been questioned about the gutters. Can the gutters be painted a different color than the so-called trim? If the trim is white, the gutters will be white. Will the gutters show dirty marks on them? I believe they will at the end of 8 years. That's the choice you make when you take a light color. But you're not going to make the fascia board or the flat surface near it one color and the gutter another color. The gutter is part of the trim. I hope I've taken care. I just want to make sure my notes. I think I've taken care of that, so we can discuss it all further. But everybody's been asking questions. These are not my decisions, people. I'm 1/8, 1/7 of the board, but I just want to get everybody to understand what is meant by trim, what is meant, and what's going to go on. Pineapples will have different colors depending on the trim of each house, which is uniquely different than we've been in the past. But the whole concept.
One correction on that, Joe.
Yeah.
The spout, your water spout or your gutter spout going down, if it's going over the stucco area, it will be the color of the stucco. When it goes over the trim area, it will be the color of the trim area.
Whatever's underneath it, correct.
Exactly, yeah, you didn't spell that. That's the only
Okay,
thing.
fine, whatever's underneath it is the way it's going to be. It's not going to be treated, because it's a metal surface, different than what's underneath it. So those are the understandings of how the painter is working.
And
Just one quick question, Joe. Just tell us, how many coats are we getting? What are we supposed to be getting? Just answer that.
We're supposed to be getting guaranteed for 8 years, whatever the contractor says is necessary to paint. Certain colors will require 2 coats. If you're going from a very dark color, such as, I don't know what we call it, the salmon or the peach, to the white, it might require 2 coats. So there's no answer how many coats. We're guaranteeing a complete coverage, and we're guaranteeing for that coverage to last a minimum of 10 years.
So there's
Labor and
nothing-
material.
There's nothing like a sealer first and then the color? Or-
No.
Yes,
Yes.
if that's what you want to know, definitely. The contract calls for a sealer first,
Okay. And
which
does
is
the
a
sealer
clear,
have color in it, or is it just a sealer? Some
clear seal, clear.
Clear sealer. One coat will cover, unless it doesn't cover, then it's going to be 2 coats. Is that what I'm understanding?
Basically, yes. You hit it right on the head.
Okay, the guarantee is only over the stucco. Now, people are putting darker front doors and garages. They're not guaranteed for 10 years. The guarantee for the paint company and the manufacturer is for going over the stucco, your base color.
There is a guarantee on the metal surfaces, but you don't want to hear about it. That's 3 years. So we do have certain guarantees, but the big guarantee on the side of the house, the stucco surface, is the largest guarantee. We get a guarantee from the painter, and we have a guarantee from the
Paint
supplier of the paint, the manufacturer of the paint, that includes labor and materials.
Sorry, I'm sorry.
no problem.
But you can buy
Paint.
paint from the
Yes.
company.
You're also, well, suppose everybody's going
Today's
to be
day and
getting a little
age,
bit.
you can buy paint from the company. My personal way, you take a chip down to Home Depot, they match it perfectly, because if you're trying to buy the paint 6 years from today,
Right.
it will be different than the paint that's today. I'd rather match the paint that's on the wall or the garage door. So I take chips down to, for the inside of the house too. I take that they match it perfectly.
But UCI mentioned to us through the contract that every color that you're picking for your house, if it's 2 colors, you get a pint of each one of those
Yeah.
colors. 3 colors, you get a pint of that.
Yes.
Okay? If you need additional paint, UCI will let you purchase. But as Joe stated, you can probably buy it cheaper at Home Depot.
And it'll match better 5 years
Yes.
down the pipe. Today it'll match perfectly. 5 years it won't.
Okay?
Can you tell us how many houses that they've done so far have had 1 coat or 2 coats?
The project, Steve and I went to inspect today, and we found some deficiencies, so we stopped inspecting, because therefore no house has been completed, for as far as I'm concerned, and Steve, I believe,
I agree.
has been completed and ready for us to file inspection. So we're working on a project right now to make sure how it goes on. The next 5 houses, houses 11 through 15, they're only having 1 coat applied to it until we inspect. Not as much Steve and I, but more important UCI, because they come down with what they call meters and they check the thickness. There's 2 thicknesses of the paint, either 1 coat or 2 coat, it makes no difference. There's a wet thickness, and then there's a dry thickness, or what it dries to. And they have to certify it. That's the guarantee we want.
But they
We
didn't
do-
come down for the first 5?
Excuse
No.
me?
They didn't
Not
come
yet.
down for the first
No.
5?
We have no certification of any
We have
measurements
not
being
had a
made.
house completed to their satisfaction and to allow us to have a full inspection on that house.
Yeah.
And the
We
supervisor,
have pointed out things that we went by, Joe and myself, and they said we're not completed on that house until they give us a final sign off, then we'll have our inspection looking at it, and we'll make a judgment from that point on and go forward from there.
payment is on certification by UCI that this house, in other words, the warranty that we get for that house from UCI, with the paint manufacturer, is when we make payment.
Yep.
Not when they say they're finished, not when Steve and I say they're finished, it's when UCI gives us that 10-year guarantee on the stucco surfaces.
Yep. Okay, Don?
I'm sorry it took so long.
It's okay. Don, do you have anything to add?
Yeah, sorry. I did forget a couple of things. We were about this close to getting the audit done. A couple minor technicalities that the auditor requested for. Karen and I are going to work on it tomorrow. Karen and I are going to work on it tomorrow. They've told us about no problems, no whatever, no major concerns. They will give us management comments at some point. We'll see if they say, hey, need to approve this, approve that, whatever. So that's really good news, because last year we didn't get it done until this, we didn't get 2020 done until this year. So we're in pretty good shape on that. Secondly, I just wanted to point out, interest rates are, and again, it's unfortunately good news, bad news, interest rates keep going up, basically to fight inflation. Now, interest rates are not going up enough to cover the inflation, but I was able to lay $100,000 out for 3 months at 85 basis points. We haven't come close to that in years. I'm staying liquid. I want to stay liquid because when the Fed acts again, we're going to see what happens. So we have laid some funds out. We're beginning to slowly roll our yield up. Again, it's not going to cover inflation, but it's certainly better than what it's been. So those were a couple finance things I should have mentioned, and I apologize if I forgot. Now, something that Karen and I were talking about this, and actually Elise as well. We spent, would you say it was like $1,000 for the guard at the pool?
Something.
Yep.
Along
Yep.
those lines. I polled the treasurer's group, and it was unanimous for everyone that participates that their community requires a resident to accompany guests. We are the total outlier. I throw that out not as a motion, not as a statement that I'm pro or con, but I'm interested if anybody has any feedback on that. And I'll start with the director. Does any director feel strongly one way or the other on that?
Yeah, I think to me, it's a sad commentate that we have to actually think about doing something like that in this community. Because in the past, we haven't really had issues. I mean, I've had my grandchildren visiting, and my stepson and his wife, they've gone to the pool, there's never been issues. We've gone with them, we haven't gone with them. I think most people in this community can say the same thing. But over this past year, starting with the Christmas holidays, I cannot believe the behavior of people who have been guests. And rather than have this community constantly have to put money out for a guard, when we'd like to use the money for something else, I'm starting to think that maybe we should be like the rest of the communities who insist that if you are bringing a guest to the pool, you are with them at the pool. Because maybe that way will improve the behavior. And then maybe it'll make some of the residents who think that kids can do anything they want have a responsibility. And I think that's definitely something we should discuss and think about prior to the next major holidays coming up, okay? It doesn't make me happy to think about doing that, but I don't think we're going to have a choice. And as I said, maybe if people start to feel responsible for their guests, maybe we won't have to worry about the fact of that type of behavior. This community has tried to be open to everyone, but just because you have a guest doesn't mean that the residents of this community are not entitled to also enjoy the facilities. Okay, I don't want to have to be a guard. I don't want to have to be the sheriff that goes around saying you can't do this and you can't do that. But if you live here, you should know the rules, and your guests have to know the rules. So it's something on my mind.
I'd like to add to that same comment, and I've been here a resident since 2010. We had Christmas parties, we had activities by the pool, we had play gyms, we had set up things in the park. I want this community to be kids friendly. I don't want to stop the grandparents to bring their kids here and not have a good time. I don't want to police them, but I want them to have a good time. We have to be flexible in that area, and we have to think about our grandchildren. This is part of our enjoyment to have them down here to visit us. And this is why I came to this community. I don't want to stop it. I think we should continue with it. And I think we should have a committee for Christmas to allow parties for the kids and have it. We had ice cream, we had set up games, we had pool parties, we had games in the pool, we gave out things. This is what I'm looking forward in the future.
And this is also something that has been discussed with the social committee. We have a new social director starting. It would be a separate committee as part of the social committee. It's been discussed and will be further discussed, and to go back and do that. But
Thank
again,
you.
I think residents have to be responsible for their guests.
No question about
and
it.
people shouldn't be complaining at the pool that the kids are making noise because they want to play mahjong or canasta. I'm sorry. It's a pool, and there's going to
We
be
have
noise around
allowed
the pool.
the card group to go out to the pool
Yeah.
because of this problem that we have with COVID, okay? The pool area is for kids and for the people to enjoy.
Yes.
Your card people coming out, it's not we're giving you the access for it, but it's not your
Right.
area.
Yep. I'm sorry. Joe, did you want to say something?
Well, very quickly, it's a new subject here. My point is, over the years, unfortunately, some of the violators have been residents. So having a resident check up on their children, in fact, we've had residents take their children or their grandchildren into the pool that were in diapers. So by having a resident present with the guest, I'm opposed to it also.
Go ahead, Nancy.
I've lived here from the beginning, 2003. I can't go to the pool, but my late husband went every day. Everybody saw him. And I'll go back to what I've said so many times over the years, communication. Everything you people said is right. I agree with it all. But then who's hearing it? Let's get some email blasts. Let's remind people, not a very wordy rule, but condense it and communicate. And it appears to be the new people who may need more than once or twice. So try getting the word out. Avalon Times.
And we are
With
trying.
the new committee with the social that Elise just mentioned, they're gonna direct that, and
Yep.
hopefully it'll be forward to the community.
And they're excited about doing it too. And I think in the
You said you'd all discuss it, implying you want to discuss it at the next meeting. Our new social
No, I didn't say
committee,
that.
well, are
Nancy,
not
I didn't
gonna
say
have
that.
to Be ready by then.
No, I didn't say that. I said what we're saying is that it's a topic that Don put out there that we're putting out now. It's not something we're making an instant decision on. We have a new social director starting. Within the next couple of months, we're gonna start to be getting stuff out
stand
there
corrected. You
about
said
that.
before the
No,
next
I didn't
one.
say no. I did not say next board meeting. We have a little time on it.
All we wanted to do was get the pulse, get the
We
temperature
just want
in
to
the
start
room.
getting it out there,
Just
all
get a
right?
feel for what
We
people
are an
think.
outlier. I mean, it's weird to think. I kept saying, really? I never, but we are an
Valencia Isles
outlier.
hires a guard and requires a resident. They do both. And the guards are in uniforms. What we had was a little kid sitting at a table logging people in. I'm not sure what he was guarding, but
Well, I mean, that's not even, but the point is that this is something we're putting up for discussion. We're gonna see what happens. Maybe we'll make it part of the board responsibility to also have a different board member there every day looking and doing things. There's many things we can do, but we do wanna have activities for the kids. And I think when I first was on the social committee, it had been told to me, well, they stopped doing it because all the kids were getting older, there were no little kids anymore. But the point is, I think we have a great new social director. She's energetic, she's lively. We have new members on our social committee that are very interested in doing this and are volunteering to do it, so I think that's all part of it, and that's something I was gonna mention. I don't see anybody here from the social committee.
do I have one more thing?
Oh,
Or you wanna
okay,
you
John,
wanna
go ahead. No, go ahead.
No, actually, I'm kind of throwing this towards you.
Oh.
But I don't have a recorder.
It's okay.
I just am gonna work along with Maris on different things, and
Okay.
we're already figuring
Yeah.
things for the fall.
Good stuff. Okay, I'm sorry, John, finish it on.
Do you want to speak to that email we got the other day about the notice on where the assessments go? That one gentleman sent an email and said, should you send a snail mail? Should you?
Well, what we
People
do.
might not have email and things of that nature.
Well, we've done, Joe and I talked about this. First of all, if anybody reads the president's article, I'm not sure anybody does, I do get recommendations that they read my recipes, but I had totally gone into my president's article for the Avalon Times coming out all about the assessment and how the payment plan is and all of that stuff. I think we're also going to be putting an separate insert in the Avalon Times, again, reiterating the fact of how things are to be paid. It's
And
on
where
our
to send it.
website and where to send everything. It's on our website. Joe and I felt that to mail it would not make much of a difference. There'll be a few people who claim no matter what we did, if we handed it to them, they would claim they didn't get it. Anybody who doesn't pay timely will be given an additional 5 days if they claim they had no notice in which to make a payment, and there will not be any fine or extra charges. Correct. Am I right on that, Joe?
Also, no.
Right. So we are doing everything we can. It's amazing to me how many people have already come forward and paid in full, a tremendous amount of people. And I think we're going to have a vast majority doing that also. But we thought about doing a mailing, and then there's no guarantee that people actually get the mailing or that they claim they didn't get the mailing. So we felt that by the Avalon Times, my president's article, the insert in it, putting it on the website, the email blast we have sent out, friends telling friends, that we feel that enough people in this community will clearly know about it. There'll always be a few who won't know or who will claim they didn't receive notification, and they will be accommodated.
Two more, and you'll also be on the Channel 63.
Right.
And it'll also be on our bulletin board.
Right.
So there's two more areas you can-
We've done it as much as we can. Like I said, I've had people call me and I say, gee, can you send me an email? They go, oh, I don't use the computer. So I figure no matter what I do with those people, they probably won't hear about it. I'm sorry. Yes, Ron?
So I'm on the social committee,
Yeah.
but she didn't, I didn't know she was gonna be here, so I'm not prepared.
Well, no, I'm not asking you to say anything. I'm going to talk. I can talk. I'm embarrassed. We know that. No, I understand that. No, I'm just in general, I'm just going to let people know something's going on. But there's something, I'm sorry, Stuart?
I just want to know, do we have everyone's email in the database?
No, there are people that refuse
To give us email.
But there's also
that's
people.
their problem.
There's people. When we mailed out, and the mailing would cost hundreds of dollars, not, as you know, understand. When we mailed out in the past, we always get back people that didn't get it. We
Right.
get addresses that they moved. Oh, I haven't been living there for 6 years and things like that.
But
Right.
So we do our best to know.
Right.
But we don't have everybody's email address.
Thank you.
Yeah, no, it doesn't make any sense. As I said,
So when you send the
I'm sorry.
blast, they don't get it.
Yeah. But if you go to the website, type in a search criteria, and if you know somebody's there and it doesn't come up, they're not in the database.
Right.
That's not true.
That wasn't the question you were.
Pardon me?
just-
Yeah, but about the email address, in other
You
words,
said
there are
the
people,
glass
if you
out,
look
they
them
don't
up,
get-
they aren't, they just will not give us email addresses.
That's
You can't make somebody do that. I mean, they consider it an invasion of their privacy, and then they'll go to me, well, I don't hear about anything. I go, do you get emails? Oh, I don't give my email address. I said, well, I guess you're not gonna hear about a lot of stuff.
I would like to make a correction. Dawn said that we may not have their email if they're not there. I had a discussion with Len a week or two ago because I wanted to look at listen to recordings of the board meeting. He says when he's here by the next morning at the latest, our webmaster has these recordings. None of them for this year are on the website. There are things that refer to last year on the website. I won't go into it, but I think everybody's aware that it's a major issue.
But that wasn't my point. My point was you can search for a resident.
She was talking
There are
about
so
a
many
residence
people
email.
that don't know, that have a computer that their kids set up and they don't know what it is.
That's what I'm saying. They don't look,
No,
they
I
don't
believe you.
look.
All I'm saying is I went searched for myself at one point and found that I wasn't there and mentioned it to Karen, and she arranged to get us onto the website. So I understand there are people that
Many.
Well, as I've
webs are
said
expired.
before, I have clearly asked for volunteers to help us with our website. Seems no one really wants to volunteer to help us with our website, okay? So I will continually raise the issue of asking for volunteers to help with the website. And then maybe eventually I'll get enough volunteers and that the person who runs the website will actually be willing to work with the volunteers. But if I don't have anybody volunteering, it makes it difficult to push the issue. This is a community that relies on volunteers. Now, we might end up having to actually pay somebody initially to make some corrections and things, and I hate to have that happen, but that's the truth, okay? So it's fine to say we have the website, but we need someone who's running it who will be able to keep it current. It's not for lack of trying, Nancy, believe me. Okay, any other comments, Don? Anyone? Okay, I was just going to talk just briefly because I know we don't really have the leaders of our committee here tonight. I mean, and some other people are missing. We all had tickets, I think, to see Donna Summers. And it got canceled at the Kravis Center in February because of COVID, and they switched it to this week. So there were a lot of people, we saw it last night, a lot of people who would normally be here are seeing it tonight because they have Thursday night tickets. So that's the reason for absence by the social committee. We have a great new social director. I hope you all come out to meet her on Monday. She's wonderful, she's energetic. She already has great ideas and great plans. And we already we've got some stuff that's going to be planned for this summer to keep those of us who live here all year long busy all year long with some really nice activities and things like that. So I'm very, very excited about that. Okay, so I'm speaking at the moment for the social committee. Do you want to add anything, Marina?
Nope.
Okay. Sue, any update on the fountain people?
Okay. You're not gonna believe this.
I'll believe
I went
anything.
around to all the communities in our area that have fountains.
Yeah, take it, yeah.
Okay. I went around to all the communities in our area that have fountains. I went into each guard gate and I got some numbers. They gave me some numbers. One man that was on the grounds came to meet me. He gave me a man that does hit their fountains, and it's a pool company. It seems that all our communities are small with fountains. We're not the major big fountains that have big people that handle that. They're all using a pool company, to do their fountains. He gave me a name. I was so excited. I called the man. The man was going to meet me. I said, gee, that name sounds so familiar. I come into Karen today, and I said, this man is going to meet me tomorrow. I'm so excited, So she said, what's his name? I said, well, whatever his name is. She said, we've had him and we fired him.
Oh, okay.
So that was my one person that I have. I have other names. No one wants to call me back. So we did put out a blast to the national, the council that we meet. And hopefully they will get back to us. That's the only thing, because we
Okay.
can't use big companies for our fountains.
No,
It
they
has
won't-
to be,
they won't come
it has
to
to be a
us.
pool company.
Unless we're part of a consortium.
But I was so excited that somebody was coming.
I
I
know.
walked into
Unless
her, we
can
fired them.
Unless we can
Sue,
become a
can I ask you question
consortium.
about
Yes.
that? The people that you discussed this with their fountains in the similar communities as us, do they use recycled water?
Yes, oh yes.
Okay, so that
That's-
is a good point.
Yes.
They all use
All
recycled.
so far.
And are they having the same problems with the?
Nobody
pumps?
seemed to have had some problems. I mean, this is the one I got from Cascade, and he came out and he said, we don't have a problem. And nobody else wanted to tell me that, but, you know, I've
good.
called, I don't understand something. I've called the CDs in the office on 5 of them today, or yesterday, or whatever. Nobody picks up a phone there. They're all out to lunch at 10 o'clock in the morning. They never called me back. So I'm gonna keep trying, that's all I can say.
Now, that just shows how great our CD is,
right.
who actually
right.
answers phones
Absolutely.
and responds to things.
Probably a castle.
You know, okay, I appreciate that, Sue.
Before
Go
we
ahead.
move on to a new subject, the statement was made just a few minutes ago that none of the recordings are on. And I just listened to the January
For this year.
27th recording for 2022. The February 24th is on. The painting town hall meeting's on. I agree with you, the April isn't. But the word none on for 2002, I'm looking for them.
I have not looked since I had my conversation with
Okay.
Len, and I
They've
suspect
been
Len
there,
maybe
they've
spoke
been there
to
for
Steve.
4 months ago. The January one was up in January.
No, I
Okay,
spoke to
independent, they're
Len
there now.
briefly.
They're there now.
It's
You
okay.
made a statement that none were there, they're there now.
Okay. Thank you, Sue, I appreciate that. And this is an ongoing project and discussion we have, because we want the fountains to look nice. But if we can't have them look nice, and they're going to become like that house that people buy that's the bottomless pit, I feel like our fountains are a bottomless pit. And if it looks like that's going to be the continuous issue, then there are other things we can think about doing, but that would also require a community vote to make a change. And that's a possible thing that may be coming up, along with several other issues I want to raise for community vote come the late fall. Okay, any other comments on this? All righty, old business. Joe, any update on the cameras in the clubhouse?
Other than me getting in here and doing it, which health-wise hasn't been easy, I'll try to get it done within the next 30 days. I have to sit here in this clubhouse and log on every one.
Okay.
Steve has slated his effort to help me, but we have not got together on the group. Believe me, I want the box out of my room.
Okay, all right. Okay, so now, new business. I'm gonna move things around a little bit, because 2 things will be very quick. First is to ratify the approval for the HOA-sponsored Memorial Day party, introducing our new social director, Maris Newmark, to the community. The cost is $350. Does anybody on the board have any questions? Does anybody have anything to say? All right, all those in favor, please raise your right hand. 6-0, thank you. Also, I'd like to approve the updated social committee roster. Anybody on the board have any questions? Anyone else have any questions? All those in favor, please raise your right hand. 6-0, thank you. Okay, now, we had an original contract from the entertainment committee, and I'm speaking for them tonight because I'm sorry they're all at the Donna Summer Show. To approve the signing of the contract for the Linda Ronstadt Experience Show. This would be replacing Jay White, Neil Diamond Show, because he decided that after his agent signed the contract, that we were too small. I'm sorry, what?
Into the mic.
Okay.
Microphone.
I understand, okay. We'll start all over. Did you hear anything I said? No.
Something new.
Good, okay. To approve the signing of the Linda Ronstadt Experience Show. This is a replacement for Jay White. We had signed a contract with his agent for Jay White. Jay White decided afterwards we were just not big enough for him, even though the money was good, okay? Under the terms of our contract, they have a right to offer a replacement act. They have come up with an act that the Entertainment Committee has approved, which I think sounds good to me because I like Linda Ronstadt. The Linda Ronstadt Experience, the cost of the show is the exact same. So we are signing a new contract for her show. If there's an issue with cancellation or anything, there is a 12-month 12 months to replace. It has the COVID contract that all our other contracts have. And basically, we really don't have a choice, seeing that we've already signed the prior contract, and under the terms of the contract, they have a right to replace. So does anybody on the board have any questions?
Going forward, we have just got to stop having contracts like that.
Right, well,
You have to have the ability to say, we don't want a replacement, we cancel.
I'm not arguing with you, but this is the contract that
It
we
is what
have
it
at
is
this
today, I
point in
understand that,
time.
but when we get into the next cycle,
Yeah.
we gotta look long and hard at the contracts.
Yep. Anybody have any questions? Okay, all those in favor, please raise your right hand. 6-0, thank you. Okay, now, Joe, you said you wanted to add something?
Yeah, unfortunately, I uncovered what I would call a mishap. Back in 2017, we had what we call restricted accounts, and we're required to have no commingling of funds, as Don has mentioned here, that we're going to take care of with the assessment. However, we're commingling funds on one account for two other items that we're going to have to break out. And I just want to make sure we do that, and that would be that the painting reserve and the replacement reserve have to be separate accounts. Not only count numbers, but the numbers can't be combined into the UBS. And I think that's when that happened. I saw we had BB&T, which would be from HRT. We had separate checking accounts, and they were labeled such: replacement reserve, painting, and obviously now we have the third one, which we're going to use an account for. So please I think we should approve a motion to allow the treasurer to open up 2 additional accounts, either with the State Bank is the name of the current bank?
South State.
South State.
What's UBS?
Or UBS, his choice, I don't care, as long as they're separated and segregated. This is an era that I was president and allowed it to go through, but we keep correcting things, so it's a simple thing. We're now commingling funds, and that's a violation of paragraph G of our DCCNRs. And that's all, so I'm asking us to...
Joe, I just want to tell you, I spoke to 3 separate people today. The auditor says you don't have a problem if you have one reserve bank account. If your general ledger accounts are segregated, one being in effect statutory, one being a pool or a line item, that is fine. But they basically told me nobody is out there setting up a separate bank account or separate UBS account for painting and then a separate one for replacement. Don't have to do that. I spoke to reserve advisors, who are the people that are going through the study. They pretty much said the same thing. Don't have to do that. I spoke to UBS. They punted a little bit on it, but he really didn't tell me that they had anybody that were setting up multiple accounts for different reserve buckets. The fact that we segregate them on the GL should be sufficient. There is nothing in 720 that says we have to do that. Let's dance, babe. I'm just saying, I called around today, nobody's saying we have to do that.
Agree with you 100%. We don't have to do that per the way you said it, but we have to do it per the way our DCCNR said it. And this is not the place to go and argue this whole thing out. If you feel it doesn't, we'll discuss it later outside this meeting.
And that's fine, and that's fine. All I'm saying is if we start splitting up UBS, then we're gonna look at $1.9 million and all of the investments, and we're gonna move this here, move the,
We'll discuss it later.
Okay.
All right, so it is definitely not going to be a motion tonight. Any other things? Can I have the list, Myrna? Did anybody say they want to?
Nobody.
Nobody?
Oh, I have a complaint.
You didn't sign in.
You didn't sign in, so
Joking with you, Sue.
it's okay.
I have a neighbor that's a snowbird. And every year, he's here, he's at the club, and he's at the pool, the lights are on. He leaves, the lights are gone, the house is dark.
Again?
The other day, the garbage was put out, 3 days in a row, it's by his garage door. I'm here 20 years, my lights are on, my garbage is in, why do I have to put up with that? Why can't a snowbird that's here all season keep their lights on? They still own their house.
Right.
Why can't they keep lights on? I can't understand that,
Now,
especially in today's
when
day
you-
and age.
So when you talk about their lights, you're talking about like
That
the
they're-
carriage lights, are they
they're
on like a
carriage
timer?
lights. They're off. They're off.
In other words, but when they're here, are they on like a timer?
No, they're on. I don't know. They're on. But they're off now.
He's on a special budget, and I guess he's saving the 27 cents.
I don't
We,
understand it. But-
we have discussed this with Steve and part of the safety and that we'd like people to keep their coach lights. It's with the lights that we have now, which is really costing nothing to go on and putting a monitoring system on. We should have a coach lights. People walking from the clubhouse on the sidewalks need to see some lights. It's important.
But why can't the board, not Joe,
It-
a rule could be changed? Listen, we just did an assessment on our trees. We had to
So
change it
why don't
because it was
you make a
dangerous.
motion at the next meeting and we should discuss it and
Yeah.
maybe we can vote on it. I don't know if it's accessible
I
that we
accept
can
him.
or that.
Okay, Alvin, go ahead. You said you
Yeah, I have something to say.
stand up, please, so people can hear
We
you.
can't hear you.
Okay, here I
Right.
go. Number one,
Microphone.
Microphone.
can you hear me now?
Yeah, speak into it. Go ahead.
This way.
Okay, Alvin.
There's another layer. Listen, number one, there's a house on Oak Vista Drive about 7:15 every morning has the sprinklers going, like he's the only one on Oak Vista Drive, has a special, he has a lawn specialist, sprinkler for about 15, 20 minutes. Why can't I have my grass or water at 7:15 in the morning?
I have no idea what you're talking about. You're talking about that the sprinklers are going on automatically?
No. This house is specially on every morning at 7:15
No.
on Oak Vista Drive.
Can't be.
It can't be. I'll tell you what, I'll take a picture of it and I'll bring it to Karen
Okay.
and I will show you.
Okay.
Good.
And another thing, there's a certain man who cleans his house on his lawn every day on Oak Vista Drive too. But he has special things for the sprinkler system, and when the sprinklers go in, when the people cut the grass, they don't break the sprinkler head. The lawn men here, they cut the lawn and they break all the sprinkler heads. Time and time again, I'm in the office complaining about sprinkler heads. Can we have someone, when we have our new grass put in, put like inserts so the sprinkler heads can go in these little cubby holes, and when the people cut the grass, we don't have to go buy new sprinkler heads. Do you know what I'm talking
He
about?
must have
Sharon?
bought them himself.
He must have bought them himself.
A lot
Well, he
of
may have
people
bought it
have.
himself, but.
Because there are people I see, they have them, they have like a cover that goes over it. I have no idea who.
No, it's, yeah, so they're like in a little.
Cover.
Cover, yeah.
Yeah.
And they pop up and it goes down when it's finished.
No.
But
No. I don't know.
We'll find out.
We'll find out.
What's that?
We didn't buy them, we individually.
Find out
There's
where that
little-
gentleman.
We're going to,
What?
if you want, we can have that homeowner give you a price to do it at your property. I'm sure he has plenty of time on his hands, and he can do a great job. The gentleman's right behind you, you can say hello to him, and he hires out for a small amount.
Okay, anybody else? I don't see anybody else signed up. I am adjourning this meeting at 7:29.
A pint won't be enough. It's all.
I'm going home, I'm drinking. Oh, God help me.
Hey, I didn't want to bring it up and stir up another thing of worms, but what is wrong with breaking worms?
It's the constant breaking things, because they're constantly burning from the power water. It's like it never been there.
So how do you get it clogged
I
up?
have no idea, so it's puts at the bottom, that's they keep clogging, they don't work properly, they keep malfunctioning, it's like a constant problem. The fountain's No, go take a look at the fountains in front, and one in the middle. No, but I'm saying it's a fountain in the middle.
No, I'm fine. I'm gonna go home and have a quart.
Yeah, no, not a problem. I'm happy to get all help. I'll take any help I can get.
Right. Because if it's something simple, then maybe we can just...
Yeah, no, I know. But a part of it is because it says recycled water. So I don't know if it clogs, but it doesn't.
Well, that's what I'm thinking. And there are like others even for those that come, so they collect on that.
I get it. No, I do. I know what my expertise is, and it isn't fountains.
But I really want to get back to you on that.
Well, I appreciate that.